All right. So, hi Scout. I want to have you working on an etude in your Wolfhard book this week. We're going to jump ahead a little bit to number 45. And the reason for this is it's working on some bow technique that you're going to need to use when you're playing minuet in G, when you're playing in the trio section, which is the second half of it. You notice if you look at the music there that you have a bunch of up bows in a row. So we'll call that up bow staccato. And then if you look in your Wolfhard book, number 45, you will see it is full of up bow staccato. So it's a great place to practice this bowing. So I'm going to go over the bowing with you today, and I'm going to play through the etude. And the idea is for you to then join me. You can play along with the video on the etude. And then when you are comfortable with the bowing, you'll be ready to go for that in minuet in G and in other pieces of music that also uses this bowing. Okay, so first of all, the bow stroke itself, there's different ways of doing it, but for what we're going to do bow lifts. Okay, so we're lifting the bow. There's ways of doing up bow staccato where your bow doesn't lift off the string, but we're lifting. We're doing a little bit of a slower staccato. So we're going to really lift, get a nice ringing sound. And you'll notice when I'm doing it, I'm doing all up bows, but I'm not traveling in the bow. So I'm not here and ending down here. I'm doing little retakes with my bow. See the little circle I make with my bow, so I actually land where I started. That allows me to play as many as I want without changing where I am in the bow and running out of bow. And if you look in the etude, there are some, so at the beginning you have to play just 5 notes together up bow. But later on you have 6, and then you have 7, and then you have, if you jump down a few lines, you have that big one, 14 of them, all in one bow. So the only way to do that is the way I'm showing you where you lift your bow. If you try to do 14, you're probably not going to be able to do it without running out of bow if you aren't doing this. So anyway, you can practice just doing that on an open A. And then when you're ready, you can play the etude little by little. And so I'll play through it for you now. And I'm also going to count off so that you can join me and play with me on the etude if you want to. So we're going to go like this speed. 1, 2, 3, 4. Oops. might be way too fast for you to play with, and that's okay. You can go slower and just go yourself. And I should have mentioned this at the beginning too. So in the etude, you have up bows and then followed by another up bow half note. So you have to make sure you have enough bow for that. Obviously, you're going to have some bow to really get a half note in there. And even then, you're going to probably need to really save your bow, because you really can't do your up bows up in the upper part of the bow because you don't have any control over them. So it needs to be right in the middle so you can set your bow and be in control. And in slow motion, that's another important thing to know, is every bow is set before it's played. I'm not dropping the bow on the string and bouncing it, okay? So make sure there's a distinction there. All right, so the etude is challenging, all right? Now you don't have to go that fast. Maybe something more like... like that would be a good place to practice it. But here's the thing. Even though it's hard and it may not be perfect, by you working it out and doing something like this etude, which is hard, it's going to make it so much easier in the music itself. So when you're playing in minuet in G, you have 4, which is not very hard considering however many you're doing in the etude. 4, 4, 4, 4, 4. It's only 4. And then later, yeah, it's really just 4 the whole time. I thought maybe there was going to be a 6 one in there, but it really isn't. So it's going to make it easy in the music, and that is the whole purpose of your etude. Etudes are meant for you to really learn and work out, master techniques, so that when you have them in music, you don't have to stop and really work on techniques all that much. You've already done that work in the etude, and then the music is focusing on the music, which is the phrasing, the emotions behind the music. Obviously, you have to take the time to learn the notes, but the technique of the bow itself should already have been learned. Okay, so that's the assignment. That's what I want you to start on this week, is number 45 Wolfhard, and it'll prepare you nicely for that minuet in G. Besides that, keep working on the other things you've been doing, and I will see you next week.